They won't tell you this on the news. They won't put it in bold headlines. But the next 10 days for silver will shock almost everyone, not because of hype, not because of rumors, but because moments like this are when quiet wealth is built while the crowd is distracted. And the people who act now will be telling a very different story 1 year from today. I remember a time when I ignored opportunities because they felt slow, boring, too simple. Everyone around me chased fast money, stocks that moved in minutes, trends that vanished in weeks. But the people who stayed calm, the ones who bought real assets when nobody cared, those are the ones who now live with freedom instead of stress. Silver was one of those moments. It never screams, it whispers, and the whispers are getting louder right now. There was a small business owner I once met who didn't trust flashy investments. Every month, quietly, he bought physical silver, just a little, while friends laughed, while prices moved sideways. Years later, inflation hit, currencies weakened, and his silver quietly doubled, then climbed more. He didn't get rich overnight. He built wealth patiently, and that patience changed his entire life. That's the first lesson most people miss. Wealth doesn't come from excitement. It comes from positioning yourself before the crowd wakes up. Silver has always been money before paper ever existed. Empires rose and fell, but silver remained valuable. And every time the world enters uncertainty, silver doesn't ask for permission to rise. It simply does. Right now, demand is increasing. Industry needs it. Investors are moving quietly. Supplies aren't infinite. And history shows when silver finally moves, it doesn't walk, it runs. Here's the micro truth most people never hear. The biggest profits don't come when everyone is talking about an asset. They come when it feels calm, when it feels boring, when it feels like nothing is happening. That's when smart money accumulates. Think of silver like planting a tree. The person who plants it today enjoys shade tomorrow. The one who waits until it's hot suffers in the sun. Every ounce you stack now is a seed for financial freedom later. A young couple once started buying silver instead of wasting money on things that lost value. Just a few ounces a month. They cut small expenses, coffee habits, impulse shopping. 5 years later, their silver became the foundation of their first investment property. Not luck, discipline. That's the second lesson. You don't need to be rich to start. You need to start to become rich. Silver rewards consistency. It rewards patience. It rewards those who think long-term in a short-term world. And here's where the next 10 days matter. Markets move before headlines do. Big players position early. By the time social media is screaming about silver, the easy money has already been made. This window isn't about panic, it's about preparation. Practical action is simple. Learn the price. Buy in small portions instead of waiting for perfect timing. Focus on physical silver or trusted sources. Think in ounces, not dollars. Set a habit, monthly, bi-weekly, consistent. At the same time, shift your mindset. Stop seeing money as something to spend. Start seeing it as soldiers you send out to work for your future. Every ounce of silver is a worker protecting your wealth from inflation, chaos, and bad decisions. Another investor I knew sold a car he didn't need and turned that money into silver years ago. Today, that silver is worth far more than that car ever was. Most people trade assets for liabilities. The wealthy do the opposite. And the magic is, silver doesn't require genius. It requires discipline. The next 10 days aren't about fear. They're about awareness. They're about realizing you're early, not late. They're about choosing the calm road instead of the crowded one. Silver has a habit of surprising those who underestimate it and rewarding those who respect it. You'll realize this was the moment you stopped chasing money and started building wealth. If this message opened your eyes, even a little, hit the like button so more people can learn what schools never taught us about money. Subscribe for real-world wealth strategies and smart investing insights, and share this with someone who needs financial freedom in their life. I remember a time when I ignored opportunities because they felt slow, boring, too simple. Everyone around me chased fast money. Stocks that moved in minutes, trends that vanished in weeks. But the people who stayed calm, the ones who bought real assets when nobody cared, those are the ones who now live with freedom instead of stress. Silver was one of those moments. It never screams, it whispers. And the whispers are getting louder right now. Back then, I thought excitement meant progress. If an investment wasn't moving fast, I assumed it wasn't worth my time. I watched charts all day, chasing green candles, feeling smart when something went up and broken when it crashed, but slow. Only I noticed something strange. The loud opportunities came and went, but the quiet ones kept growing. The people who didn't talk much about money were the ones whose lives were quietly improving. New homes, less debt, more freedom to travel, less fear about bills. They weren't lucky, they were patient. One of them was an older man who worked a normal job for decades, nothing flashy. But every month he bought a little silver, sometimes when prices dipped, sometimes when they rose, but always consistently. He didn't try to time the market. He trusted the process. He told me once, "I'm not trying to get rich fast. I'm trying to never be poor again." That sentence changed how I saw money. Now, while others spent bonuses on gadgets, he turned income into assets. While others complained about inflation, he prepared for it. At first, people laughed at him. They said silver was old-fashioned, that crypto was the future, that stocks were where the real money was. He just smiled and kept stacking. Years later, when markets crashed and prices of everything went up, his silver quietly protected his wealth. He didn't panic. He didn't stress. He had something real in his hands, something the world had trusted for thousands of years. That's when I realized silver isn't about getting rich overnight. It's about building a foundation so strong that storms don't shake you. It's about peace of mind. It's about knowing that no matter what happens to currencies, systems, or economies, you own real value. Silver has been money longer than any government has existed. Kings used it. Traders crossed oceans for it. Empires measured power with it. And today, industries can't function without it. Technology, solar energy, medical equipment all depend on silver. When you invest in silver, you're not betting on a trend. You're aligning with history and necessity. You're choosing something that has survived every financial collapse, every war, every currency failure. And that quiet strength is what makes it powerful. I began small, just a few ounces at a time. It didn't feel life-changing at first. But over months, those ounces added up. Over years, they became a serious asset. More importantly, my mindset changed. I stopped wasting money on things that lost value and started turning money into something that held it. Each purchase felt like planting a seed for my future. The funny thing is, once you start thinking like this, everything changes. You stop asking, can I afford this? Start asking, will this make me richer or poorer long term? You begin to see opportunities everywhere to redirect money into assets. Small sacrifices today for massive freedom tomorrow. Silver teaches patience. It trains discipline. It rewards consistency. It doesn't need hype to grow in value. It grows because the world needs it and always has. And the people who understand this early are always the ones who benefit the most. Most people wait until everyone is talking about an opportunity. By then, prices are already high and risk is already rising. The smart ones move quietly when it feels boring, when it feels slow, when it feels like nothing is happening. That's when real wealth is built. Silver's power has never been in drama. It has always been in quiet accumulation, in steady growth, in long-term thinking, in choosing assets over applause. And those who listen to the whisper instead of chasing the noise are the ones who end up winning financially. There was a small business owner I once met who didn't trust flashy investments. He had watched friends make quick money and lose it just as fast. Promotions, market crashes, hype cycles, all of it felt like gambling to him. Instead of chasing excitement, he focused on stability. Every month, no matter what the price was doing, he bought physical silver. Sometimes just a few ounces, sometimes more when business was good. He treated it like a bill he paid to his future self. At first, nothing dramatic happened. Prices moved slowly. Some months went down. Others barely changed. But he never stopped. While others constantly jumped from one investment to another, he stayed consistent. Over time, those small purchases stacked up into something powerful. He didn't realize how strong the habit was until inflation started hitting everyday life. Groceries became expensive. Rent climbed. Fuel costs rose. People complained about money losing value, but his silver quietly rose with the chaos. He told me something I'll never forget. I don't need silver to make me rich. I need it to stop me from getting poorer. That's when it clicked. Most people focus only on growth, but real wealth starts with protection. If you can protect what you earn, building more becomes much easier. Silver acts like a shield. When currencies weaken, silver tends to hold strength. When uncertainty rises, silver becomes more valuable. What made his journey powerful wasn't timing. It was discipline. He didn't wait for perfect prices. He didn't panic when markets dipped. He understood that the real advantage came from consistency over years, not luck in weeks. The habit removed emotion from investing. It became automatic, calm, and focused on the future. As his stack grew, so did his confidence. He slept better, knowing part of his wealth wasn't sitting in numbers on a screen. It was something real he could hold, something that had survived every financial crisis in history. That security gave him courage to take smarter risks in his business, expand, hire more people, and grow faster than competitors who were constantly stressed about money. Silver didn't just protect his wealth. It strengthened his mindset. It taught him to think long-term, to delay gratification, to value assets over temporary pleasures. While others upgraded phones every year, he upgraded his future. While others spent bonuses on vacations they forgot, he converted extra income into something that kept working for him. Slowly, quietly, his life changed. Less fear, more options, more control over his time, all because he chose steady accumulation over fast excitement. And that same quiet strategy is available to anyone willing to think beyond today's comfort and focus on tomorrow's freedom. A young couple once decided they were tired of living paycheck to paycheck. They weren't poor, but they were stuck. Every month money came in and disappeared just as fast. Eating out, shopping, small luxuries that felt good in the moment but added up over time. One day they made a simple decision to redirect part of their spending into silver. Nothing extreme. Just a few ounces each month instead of unnecessary purchases. At first it felt slow. They didn't see instant rewards. Friends were traveling, buying new things, showing off online while they were quietly building something invisible. But they stayed committed. They treated silver like a savings account that couldn't be easily spent. Each purchase was a promise to their future instead of a reward for the present. Over time, something powerful happened. Their spending habits changed. They became more aware of where money was going. Every choice had purpose. Do we want this temporary pleasure, or do we want another ounce toward our freedom? That question alone saved them thousands. As the years passed, silver prices rose along with inflation. What once felt like small monthly purchases turned into a solid asset. When an opportunity came to invest in their first rental property, they used part of their silver as a foundation. Not debt, not stress. Real value they had built patiently. That single habit shifted their entire future. Rental income replaced part of their salaries. Financial pressure eased. They had breathing room for the first time in their lives. And it all started with choosing assets over expenses. Silver didn't just grow their money, it grew their discipline. It trained them to think like investors instead of consumers, to delay gratification for long-term gain, to focus on freedom rather than appearances. Most people think wealth requires huge income, but real wealth is built by how you manage what you already have. Small, consistent actions over time create massive results. The couple never won the lottery. They never took crazy risks. They simply redirected money into something that held value and let time do the work. Their story proves that you don't need to be rich to start building wealth. You need to start building wealth to become rich.